So earlier, we had Sipho Mtombeni from Google Southern Africa who spoke to us about internet safety. We want to delve into this a bit more, but specifically talk about the responsible use of technology as well as cyberbullying and its effects on mental health. Yeah, pretty serious. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome Razina Mohammed, who is a psychologist at Discovery.
Hi everyone, let's maybe take a break from all the technical talk and talk a little bit about mental health. We know that mental health is one of the basic constructs, at least positive mental health, to good behavior, making good decisions, and just overall happiness. So I want to talk to you today a little bit about cyberbullying. We know that this is something that's on the rise and something that we all dealing with at least at one point in our lives. But in order to understand cyberbullying and how it affects our mental health, we need to understand the concept of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying really is bullying that takes place online. So any type of bullying, whether it's through text, on a phone call, through sharing pictures on social media, anyone making threats, and I'm pretty sure you all are familiar with the term trolling, that all falls under cyberbullying. And that basically is cyberbullying. So people cyberbully in various ways. So often we find cyberbullies do it either through posting comments, by posting rumors about people, maybe even creating stories about someone online, and we would term this as slander or making defamatory remarks. Making someone feel unsafe online, whether that's through threats, even if it's a physical threat, peer pressure, so pressurizing people into making decisions or choices that they necessarily may not want to. Even threatening or using blackmail to get information from someone, or even sharing confidential information. So sharing that selfie that someone sent you without their permission may also fall under the cyberbullying concept. Online harassment and stalking, this is a very big form of cyberbullying that is on the rise. Specifically in younger adults and teens, the concept of trolling is quite high. So cyberbullying happens with anyone, not just teens, not just adults, not just celebrities. Anyone can be at risk to cyberbullying. But what happens when we experience or we go through cyberbullying? It can occur over a long period of time, or it can happen in a short space of time and leave someone feeling very traumatized or and impacted. So we often find there are 4 pillars that we look at when someone experiences trauma of cyberbullying. Usually it is relationships are affected. So not just the relationship on the self, but relationships with people around them. Because when you're being cyberbullied, you find that your self-esteem is impacted, so you don't feel so good about yourself. You start to question a lot about who you are, about the decisions you've made, and you start to question a lot about your life. And this in turn leads to isolation or withdrawing from the people closest to you. And so we find that your relationships are affected. We also find that your general health declines. So you might find, because of the anxiety and the stress that comes from cyberbullying, you stop eating, or maybe you overeat. You also find yourself sleeping or not sleeping at all, because you're staying up worrying about that post or the comment that was made on the latest Instagram picture that you posted up. And this sort of leads into a cycle, as you can start to see. So that's your general health. We also find that the way you function on an everyday basis is impacted. So when we talk about functionality, we talk about responsibilities in your day-to-day life. So for each of us, our responsibilities are different. Some of us are students, some of us are employees, but either way, we have things that we have to get done every day. When we are cyberbullied and we are dealing with the stress of cyberbullying, you'll find that because of the anxiety and stress you're dealing with, your productivity levels decline. And let's think back to the negative cycle that's being created. So you stayed up all night last night because you were worried about the post or the comment that was made on a post that you put up on Instagram. And now you have to get to school or you have to get to varsity and you're really tired. So you find that your concentration levels are declining. So you're missing out on what is being said in class. And then you have an assignment or a test, but you missed out on information, and that just leads to more anxiety and stress. So maybe that leads to you procrastinating, not getting things done, not being productive, not being able to pay attention, and it adds more stress because you're doing really bad at school, or you're just not able to fulfill the responsibilities like studying or basic chores. And then the last pillar is how we connect in our world, so how you view yourself. Now, with all of this stuff going on, you'll find that you start to view yourself in a very negative way. So take note of the conversation you have with yourself. Oftentimes you'll find there's these negative thoughts you might experience, like, I was really silly for doing that, or why did I do that? Or maybe someone posted a comment like, you look really fat in that picture. That might start leading you to negative thoughts, thinking about your body image, how you're presenting, and the things that you should, maybe you start comparing yourself to other people. Maybe you should be doing things differently so you look differently. And so this whole negative cycle of mental health begins. For some people, it can lead to immediate effects. So we start to see these effects immediately. So they withdraw from people, productivity declines, so you don't get things done. Your self-esteem and your confidence is low, so you don't feel like you can do things. You start to engage in negative coping behaviors, whether that's overeating, whether that's sleeping too much, and in some serious instances, smoking or resorting to drug use or drinking are ways that people try to cope. And then, of course, in more severe instances of cyberbullying, we find that people develop mental health disorders and even lead to suicide cases. Ideally, we want to build resilience and find ways to manage cyberbullying so that our mental health does not reach that extent of feeling suicidal or having thoughts of suicide or even having negative thoughts because of what someone said to you online. And I think something that's been shared throughout today is this concept of needing to protect yourself online. Being online is great. There's a lot of freedom to that, but just like making sure that your mental health is in a good space, you need to take responsibility and accountability for that. So that means when you are online, you need to protect your virtual self. By doing this, you will protect your mental health and you will build resilience. When we talk about resilience, what we're really talking about is being able to deal with difficulties, difficult comments, or difficult things that are going on around you without affecting how you might feel on the inside. So think of it as almost this golden bubble that you have around you. Because cyberbullying is there. Someone will say something negative. It might even be that you read something in the news and you make a comment about it, and then someone trolls you on that comment. And that leads to a whole other black hole of bullying that happens online. But you, depending on how you respond to that situation, will be imperative to how your mental health can be, to what extent you can manage the negative emotions or the negative thoughts that come from that experience. So part of protecting your virtual self is to use the internet very positively and try to be responsible when you use it. So try communicating only with people who you know online. So try to avoid communicating with people you don't know or strangers, or especially people that seem to want to engage with you in a very negative way. Regardless of the platform you are using, always consider the safety of those platforms. And each platform will have whether it's making a profile private, being mindful of how you comment on things or the things that you say. Also try to password protect all of your virtual worlds or your virtual selves and keep things safe. We know that people can take hold of these things and that can lead to cyberbullying in the form of blackmail. And if you are being cyberbullied, try to keep evidence where necessary and report the case of cyberbullying if warranted. So for example, platforms like Instagram or Facebook have a report button. You should use that because it's meant to keep the virtual world safe. Also, it's healthy for your mental health to just switch off once in a while. So take a break from social media, take a break from the things that you're seeing online, and go on a social media detox or a social media break. Sometimes that's all we just need to kind of reset. The same way how we often from time to time have to reset our phones or reset our laptops to get it working a lot better, so too do we need that as human beings. So for each person, switching off can be different. For some of us, it might be taking a walk in nature, listening to music while you're alone, reading a book, maybe going to the gym, doing other activities other than just being online and engaging online. And then, of course, lastly, just use the internet responsibly. So we looked at what cyberbullying is, we looked at the effects that it has on your mental health, and we looked at how you can protect yourself from being cyberbullied if you engage with people online. But what should you do if you are being cyberbullied? So there are steps that you can take. So the first step is do not retaliate. So try not to respond directly to the perpetrator. So the person who's doing the cyberbullying, it's natural that sometimes we want to respond, we want to maybe give our opinion, we want to be able to defend ourselves. But that can only escalate the cyberbullying situation. Report the perpetrator. There are these avenues and pathways that we have, so make use of them. Empower yourself and take control of the situation so that you don't feel like you are out of control. Reflect on the situation, so take a moment to understand why did that particular event, whether it was what someone said or what they posted about you online, made you feel a certain way. Part of positive mental health is deep reflection. We must reflect on our emotions and our thoughts and how we're feeling so we can understand how to respond to them. Talk to someone you trust about the incident. So if something's happened, so this could be, if it's at school or if it's at varsity, you always can find whether it's someone of authority or maybe even a counselor, but find someone that you trust who you can go to and talk about the incident. Perhaps it may even give you some comfort in sharing what has happened, and you may even get some guidance from the other person on what steps you can take. Seek professional help, especially if you find that after you've been cyberbullied, there are other symptoms that you experience, whether it's anxiety, depression, feeling like you're not yourself, maybe even having dramatic mood changes, finding that you used to love being online or posting things or sharing things about your life, but now you don't want to do that. And build resilience. Part of getting through this really harsh world that we live in is building resilience. We have to find ways to deal, adapt, and be flexible when it comes to challenges. Connect positively with other people. We have to lead by example. So how you relate to someone might impact them to relate to you in the same way. And of course, just unplug. Unplug from social media or unplug from the forum that you've been cyberbullied in and take a break. And then I'd like to end off by just reminding you that there are avenues where you can seek help. Remember to take responsibility for your mental health. Admit when you need to receive help or when you need to reach out. Sometimes that can be the most difficult. Lead by example, and let's start cultivating a culture of no cyberbullying. So take a minute to pause the next time you want to post something online and think about how it may make the other person feel. And always just take a breath. Whenever you do something, take a breath. And then lastly, you can always reach out for support from your local wellness center, your school psychosocial wellness programs, your university wellness centers. You're also welcome to reach out to SADC. They have 24-hour crisis lines that are toll-free. And if you have any beneficiaries, so a parent, or if you're part of the Sasol bursary program, you can always reach out to the Sasol Employee Wellbeing Program, and we are always here to support you. You don't have to go through cyberbullying alone. And I'd like to share a little inspiring video that Coca-Cola shared on cyberbullying in 2015. So we can already see how cyberbullying has morphed over the years. And it's something that hasn't actually gone away, and we just need to be proactive.
Show me love, show me love, show me love.
Okay, and I'd like to leave you with that. The world is what we make of it, so let's try to be positive and share a positive word with each other every day. Thank you.